Welcome back. Today, once again, I'm going to try to solve some puzzles on chess.com, and today I'm going to try to keep my emotions in check so we won't have the situation that we did in the last video where I had to cut tons of content out of it because I just got upset with myself mostly. And the reason that I'm doing puzzles again is, of course, because when I lose chess games, I'm losing them on tactics, which are things that I should learn in puzzles. If you are new to my channel, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach. I'm just a random person who had hoped to get better at chess, but according to my rapid rating, I'm staying about the same, if not dropping. I am still holding out hope that I can improve a little bit, in the future, or at least, stave off some of the breakdown of my mind that, of course, happens to all of us as we get older. I'm already over 50, if you didn't know, or if you can't tell from my face. Let's try to solve some puzzles and quit talking about my personal problems. We are about even on material, unless you're one of the people that counts bishops as more than knights, which, I understand why you might do that in some cases. As far as tactical motifs, I was thinking of a discovery here, but not only is that rook protected, but where's my knight going to go, right? If I move my knight here, it's not a check. It is attacking this undefended bishop, but they could take me, and when I take back, then they would have a chance to move their bishop. Maybe. Let's see. Let's think about this. If I move the knight here to attack the rook, if they save the bishop, I don't know how they would save it, but then I just get a rook for a knight. Is that enough? Oh, but then I can move this knight and it's a discovered check. Okay, what if they save the bishop by attacking this knight? That's not a check, so then I could still take their rook and then I would get the bishop too. Okay, I'm going to try moving my c knight to e6 because I don't see anything else. I looked around the board, I just kept not seeing anything. Let's try that. Well, it wasn't that. All right. And I have definitely noticed that we lose fewer points than we used to. So maybe that's better because, we used to complain that if you got one right and got one wrong and got one right and got one wrong, you would end up with a lower point total than you started with. Because a lot of times you would only get, 10 or 5 points for getting the puzzle correct, and you would lose 17 or whatever for getting one wrong. So I do like that they've adjusted the point system a little bit. But of course, I don't like that I failed the puzzle. I'm going to go to the analysis board and see what I should have played instead. Okay, we were apparently even until the opponent moved this bishop back, and I had to play the d knight to e6, which was my original idea. What? And it does say I would still be ahead if I moved the c knight to e6, which is what I did. So I'm going to follow that out. It's the wrong idea, and it does say that they would take this knight, which I considered as a possibility. Then I would take their rook, which is what I said. But they wouldn't take back, they would save their bishop by going to f2 or e3 check, one of those two. But I did come out ahead on that deal, did I not? Okay, and I'm up +1 if I had gone the way that I did in the puzzle. But according to the puzzle, it is better to do what was my initial thought, and then of course they're going to take here. Yes, it changed its mind. But in the puzzle, they would take there. And that's what Stockfish originally said. But if we back up, does it still say that? No, now it's gone on to its newest best move. Okay, but if I had played what I originally thought, which was a fork of these two pieces, they would take this, and I would take back, and then they would save the bishop, right? It says they would play bishop to c6. I'm confused because that's here. And then I would take this bishop. That's what would happen in the puzzle. Why wouldn't they just save this one by moving it forward one? Oh, because that's mate. Well, I certainly did not see a mate in this puzzle, so that is my bad. Okay, I did see a solution that kept me ahead, but it was the incorrect solution because this is better. Because I go here, and they play that to avoid checkmate, because now their rook is guarding down here, so now I get the free bishop, and I'm just a piece ahead. Okay, I understand it. Of course, I wish I hadn't lost the 10 points, but that's what happens. Next. And how in the world did that take me 8 minutes? It took me 8 minutes. All right, in this puzzle, again, it looks like we are even on material approximately. We each have a minor piece, 2 rooks and a queen. They have come up here protected by their rooks to attack my queen. I can check, but I don't know why they wouldn't just take me, because then if I checked again, they would get out, and we just made a queen trade. All right, what about this? What if I check? They move the king up to h2, and then I bring this rook down, threatening a checkmate. What can they do about that? Maybe that's it. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner, but let's try that. Oh, that worked. The only reason I did that is because I'm going to bring this rook down. I don't know what my opponent's going to play. They're going to play to giving up the queen for the rook. And see, I only got 5 points for that because it took me 3 minutes. And that's fair. It took me quite a while to see what probably was obvious to many of you. And that puzzle was only rated 1300, and but it only has a 37% pass rate. Like this number right here, if you actually go to that puzzle using that number, sometimes the numbers here are different. The pass rate, the numbers of attempts, because this says it's only been attempted 1,500 times. All right, now just out of curiosity, I did that. I took the puzzle's ID number and put it into the URL to bring up the puzzle's page. Now, if you notice here, so let's compare these numbers. If you notice here, it's rated 1311. Pass rate is 37.1%. I have to move my camera view for that. Pass rate is 37.1%, and there are 1,500 attempts. But if you switch over to the actual puzzle's page, the rating is the same, but the pass rate is even lower, 21.4%, and it says it's been attempted 50,000 times. So you know right away that the first page was incorrect. This information here on this right column is not correct except for the rating. But the pass rate and the attempts that I've been reading on these pages as I solve or fail the puzzles does not match what's in the database for these puzzles. I don't know if they have now two databases that are conflicting, but that's really bugging me, and it shouldn't be because I'm trying to learn how to solve these puzzles a little better. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, in this puzzle, my opponent is slightly ahead on material because they have a rook for my knight. I have an extra pawn, but that puts me down 1 point if I'm not mistaken. Okay, here I do have a check, but that leaves my knight undefended. I also have a check with the knight, which leaves this pawn undefended. I could also defend the knight, but then they can check me. And if they go over to g4, then I still have the fork down here on f2, the rook and the king. So they would, and they can't go, wait, hold on. Sorry, I got too many arrows on the screen. So if I do this check, they can't go here because the knight was just there, which means the knight's guarding that square. So that means they have to go for one of the places where I can fork them. Okay, well then I'm going to check there. Oh, they went one of the places where I can fork them. Sorry about that. I had a phone call that interrupted me, so I don't remember what I was saying, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this pawn, which is a check. They move toward my rook. I'm going to take their rook, which protects mine. Okay. Oh, and I took a long time on that and still got 10 points. Okay, well, I'm glad I figured that out. It took me a while. Next puzzle. All right, we are very close to the opening here, I think. Material-wise, we look like we're very close to even. My opponent has just castled. I, of course, have not castled. And in a game, I would castle here. Almost 100% positive that's what I would do. But in my experience, castling has never been the answer in a puzzle except when you long castle and put the opponent in check with it. And I think that's only happened to me once as the first move of a puzzle. It's happened to me at least twice as the second move of a puzzle. But I've never kingside castled, and that was the correct answer to a puzzle. I mean, I have a check, which is what I'm supposed to look for first. If I check with the bishop to h7, my opponent only has two choices, either take or get out of the way. If they got out of the way, I'm pretty sure I would put my queen here or here on the h-file so that I could move the bishop and it would be check again. But what if they take, which is what I assume will happen? Let's say my opponent captures my bishop. Then I would not want to check here because of their bishop I just noticed. So if they took my bishop, I would want to check with my queen to h4, and then my opponent would only have one legal move, which is to go back to where they came from. And then I'm struggling to see what I could do after that. You know what? I'm seeing nothing. My mind is blank. I'm going to try that check. That wasn't it. Oh, well, that's actually kind of a surprise. I thought it was going to be that, and then I would fail on the next move. It says, but once I go here, you don't have a strong way to respond. Okay, that's what I thought. So analysis board. Once my opponent castles, I need to play queen to e4. That... Oh my. Well, I'm... Sorry, what? That's the answer, queen to e4. I mean, yes, I'm lining up here, but they can stop that so many ways, just with the pawn. It says they wouldn't. It says they would stop it with knight to f5 or knight to g6. In the puzzle, they go a different route, bishop to f5, and then I take the knight. But Stockfish says they would go here, and then I would take the knight. Okay, well, like this. So the whole idea of the puzzle was a threatening checkmate, so they have to do something, either block with the knight on one of those two squares, or block with the bishop, or block with the pawn, or block with the other pawn, and then I take their knight for free. Okay, so I'm threatening checkmate, they're going to play that, I'm going to take the knight. Well, I don't know if this pass rate of 18.5% is correct, but it feels like a puzzle that would have a really low pass rate. All right, let's just do another one. Since I'm a glutton for punishment, okay, they've checked me, I have to get out of check. I only have two ways to get out of check on this one, either take or move out of check. because I can't check them and my queen is in danger because for some reason I left my queen sitting here and they checked me. I don't know how that worked out, but that's what I did. I left my queen here. So if I take back or move over, they get my queen. Oh, but I get their queen. So should I take it and then take their queen? No. If I take it, they take my queen with check. And when I come back to get out of check, they escape with their queen. Okay, so what if I just move over? They take my queen without check, and I take their queen. But then we came out even. Wait, what's the material count here? So but if they move their queen, then I have mate, right? I don't know. Let's try it. Oh, it was that. Well, then I'm going to do this, and then take their queen. It wasn't taking their queen. Oh my. I got the first something amount of moves right. Oh, but there was more. Okay, so they did this, and I was right to take the bishop, and they should have played queen to d3. But instead, they took my queen, and I was right to take back because I'm threatening this. Now they take this rook. They did, and I need to take it. Sorry, the opponent is still up on material. What am I missing? I'm missing that that's not the end of the puzzle. They're going to play knight to a3 so that they don't get checkmated, and then I'm going to take their queen, and they're going to take back. Okay. Okay. Retry. No, that's not retrying. Sorry, what happened? Why can we not retry from the place where I didn't understand it, the beginning? Okay. So they did that. I took here. Okay. Oh, chess.com. Please stop doing that. I want to play it from the beginning. Okay. So they took here, and then I took this, and that doesn't make any sense. It just skipped like 3 moves. You saw that, right? So from here, I was supposed to take the knight and then the queen. Okay, now will it start over? Thank you. When I click retry, I always want it to start over. So take the bishop, knowing that they're going to check me, but I'm going to get the rook, and then I'm going to get the knight, and they're not going to save their queen because otherwise that would have been mate, so they had to stop mate, so I get their queen. I don't have time for one more, but I'm going to do it anyway, yeah, because I have fewer points than I started this whole thing with. Oh, you know what? I am going to stop. I have no idea what to do in this one, so thank you for spending your time here, and it's no wonder that I'm losing games based on tactics because I can't even solve them when I know I have a tactic. That's pretty frustrating. I'll see you next time.